In the blue corner, weighing in at 175 pounds, Tim, the Gobbler, Yorso. And in the red corner, standing at 6 feet, no inches, Ryan, the Crustacean, Catalica. And I'm your host, Eric, the Rumbler, Ramazzini. And you're listening to the E.A.T.S podcast. Let's get ready to nibble!
Really, Eric? The Gobbler? Okay. Well, I'm Tim, I guess, the Gobbler.
You just gobble things up, man.
Apparently.
I'm Eric, the Rumbler.
I am Brian, the Crustacean.
Hey, at least I'm not the Crustacean.
That's true. I mean,
what does that even mean?
I got a tough exterior.
yeah, it's a little crusty. It's crusty.
No, I'm not crusty.
Okay.
I'm hard.
Oh, okay.
My
Alright,
middle school
I got
students,
you.
they use crusty, it means like ugly or something. So
Oh,
they're
really?
telling me, yeah.
I guess we're
But-
out of the loop because I've
But,
never heard of
that's
that.
7th graders. So,
Yeah.
you know, we're
Brian's not
more
crusty.
mature than that, you know, crustacean.
For you listening out there, Brian's not crusty.
Oh, not at all.
Not at all.
But he's a crustacean.
Oh, yeah. Biggest crustacean.
Alrighty, let's get this train rolling. Well, the NBA Finals.
Ugh.
Tough pill to swallow, I think, for all of us.
I'm going to tell you that I was really mad. I was with some friends watching the last game, and we all talked. We were like, hey, if the game looks like it's over with a couple minutes left, we're turning it off. Because I didn't want to deal with the Warriors cheering. I couldn't handle it. I couldn't deal with it. I was too mad. So with like 30 seconds left, I think we were just like, nope, we're done. We turned it off and we left.
You know what? Overall, I'm not going to be a downer. Congratulations to the Golden State Warriors. You did it.
Call me a downer.
Yeah. I mean, we all try to take away from their championship, but you did it. You
That's
beat.
true. They did earn it.
They
won
won it. You've been they've been the best NBA team all year, throughout the regular season, throughout the playoffs. Overall, they were the best team. So congratulations to the Golden State Warriors. Steph Curry, he did what he had to do, in clutch games. So good outcome.
Congrats, Warriors.
It's been a long time for the Golden State Warriors fans too, so that must be awesome.
Oh, just
Yeah.
fans, quote unquote.
Yeah, I mean,
Well,
whoever's
yeah.
a real fan out there.
Yeah.
We're probably, I'm going to say this right now, and we're probably about to lose some Warrior followers. But I've avoided Facebook the last couple of days just because I haven't wanted to see the massive amounts of spam
Yeah, I got
of
you.
Warriors people, and especially all the Giants fans jumping on the Warriors bandwagon.
Yeah.
Even though some people don't even follow basketball. Anyway, that's just me. We probably just lost some Warriors followers. Sorry about that, but that's just me.
Oh well.
Yeah,
Andre,
you guys won. Celebrate. Rub it
Golden
in our
State-
face. Do whatever you want.
Iguodala played a great game, great series. Won the NBA Finals MVP.
That's true.
He
I mean,
deserved
LeBron
it.
should have got it.
I don't.
I
Yeah.
mean, really though.
It would-
I think LeBron would have declined it.
Yeah.
To be honest.
It's hard. You can't. You shouldn't win it if you lost. It would just suck. Like they announced the championship to the Golden State Warriors, and then the NBA Finals MVP has to come out of the locker room.
Yeah, no, that would not end up well for.
Here comes LeBron.
Right. And then every time you see it, it's kind of just a disappointment of your season that you ended up losing. He'd probably just throw it away.
I don't know. I'd like to have it just to kind of. It'd be like my last.
It'd be
little,
motivation, I'm sure.
Like
Yeah.
that's right. Like I still like took that away from you.
I mean,
you know what I mean?
I think though
Like
overall,
you couldn't have your own MVP. Like I took it from you because the only other person to do that was Jerry West, I believe.
Yeah.
Was the only person who didn't win the finals who won the finals MVP.
I mean,
I was hoping he'd get it.
overall, I think voting, it's out of 11. 7 voted for Iguodala and 4 voted for LeBron. No votes for Steph Curry. He played a fantastic game 4 and 5, or game 5 and 6 really. But Andre Iguodala did what no one thought he would do really. He stepped up really big and he deserved it. He deserved it.
I still think you. And I know like Iggy had like the good stats and he was that player that made the difference. But I still think honestly. You'd give it to Curry just because the attention that he demanded, like they had to double him almost every time up the floor, make him get rid of the ball. Without that, I mean, he's a solid player. So it's just kind of it's more for posterity, not really determining who's the best. But
yeah, I got you. Other than that, it's a little bit disappointing for Cleveland, at least for me as a LeBron James fan. A little bit disappointed that it ended up happening after him saying he's the greatest player in the world right now, and then going out like that with the Cleveland team, saying that they just ran out of talent. little bit disappointing, but
I mean, it's true. They did run out of talent.
But I don't think
too many injuries.
You don't say that though.
No, you don't. But
yeah.
I mean, he's probably just frustrated. That's probably frustration.
When your teammates go from like 1 for 13 with a couple minutes left after J.R. Smith started hitting a couple shots, but
which is
You
ridiculous.
should throw your team under the bus though, regardless.
Yeah.
You got to take it.
Well, they're all gonna be free agents. So I guess they're not coming back.
I know, right? About half of them are free agents.
Right. Other than that, for the Warriors though, where do you think they rank as one of the best teams really ever historically? Are they one of the best teams? Are they top 10? Are they going to be one of the best teams ever to play at basketball?
Well,
what do you guys think?
Specifically with numbers, they had including the playoffs, they had the third highest win total of all NBA teams. So just from a purely like game statistic standpoint, they have to be at least in the top 10. Maybe not because of the pure talent that was on the team, but because of the camaraderie and the teamwork that they were able to put together to win, especially in such a tough Western Conference.
But could you put them in the top 10? Looking at the other teams that are in here, you have the Chicago Bulls with Michael Jordan. You have the Lake Show.
Yeah, Showtime Lakers.
A couple Bulls teams.
You have the Celtics with Larry
teams.
Bird. Can you put them, at least yet, can you put them in that category, in the Lakers, the Celtics, the Bulls? I mean, they won back-to-back championships. They've won a ridiculous amount of championships. Is it too early to put them in that category? Or have they proved themselves enough in 1 year to become in that top 10?
Well, I think, and again, I'm kind of a Warriors hater, so that's just me. But they really didn't have a tough road in the Western Conference. That's why I think I would say they're one of the top 10 best regular season teams. Because what they did in the regular season, impressive. The record, the point differential, the way they just blew teams out during the regular season. One of the best regular season teams all time. Playoffs, though, I mean, they didn't have to play the Spurs. Mm-hmm. The Clippers knocked them out in the first round. Didn't get to see that matchup. They didn't even get to play the Clippers.
Yeah,
who would be the next best.
I wanted to see that. That would have been just a tough, gritty series.
They played the Pelicans, who obviously are just a new team. You knew they weren't going to do anything.
NOLA. Yeah.
They weren't going to do any damage. You played the Grizzlies with a hurt Mike Conley. Mm-hmm. And who did they play? They played the Grizzlies, right?
And then the Rockets.
And the Rockets. No Patrick Beverly, no Donis Monteunez.
So Patrick Beverly can only contribute so much, though.
Right, but I mean, every piece matters, just like
Don't
Iggy.
Say that about Patrick.
Because think about Patrick Beverly, that defensive presence. Iggy was the same way. Like Iggy was the Finals MVP. How can you not say like a guy like Patrick Beverly, who's invaluable to the Rockets, could have been that same type of difference make player? Not there for the Rockets.
And overall, to win, and you've heard coaches and players say, to win an NBA Final championship, you have to be lucky. You have to be lucky with players not getting hurt, and really, they didn't have any injuries.
Yeah, they were very lucky because the injury bug was huge. I mean, how many star players got injured in the playoffs?
A lot.
A lot.
I'm not taking away from their skill, but every team that's won the NBA Final, you have to be somewhat lucky and skilled, and they are very skilled in the best offensive team in the NBA, and then they were ranked, I think, number 1 in best defense also. So they're an overall the better team, the best team in the NBA. So congratulations to them.
I would say if they went through the Spurs, if they beat the Spurs, okay, they defeat the defending champs, they move on to the finals, they play a fully healthy Cavs team, beat them. Now we're talking. Now we're talking top 10.
But isn't that how playoffs work? If the Clippers beat the Spurs and then the Rockets beat the Clippers, aren't technically the Rockets better than the Spurs and the Clippers?
No, I don't think so. Because matchup's different. Remember when, I think it was a year or two ago, when the Grizzlies were the 8th seed, Spurs were, I believe, the 1 seed. Mm-hmm. And in Memphis, they purposely lost so they could get the 8th seed over the 7th seed because they knew they matched up better against the Spurs and they could upset the Spurs, and that's exactly what they did. So I think a lot of it has to do with matchups and not necessarily who is the better team. Mm. I think the Spurs match up a lot better against the Warriors. The Clippers match up a lot better against the Warriors than the
Do you think the Spurs would have beat the Warriors?
I honestly can't tell you for sure. I would hope that they would, but I think it would have been a really, really good series. Hopefully it would have gone to 7. I think the Spurs had the depth, they have the star power, that they could have gone the distance with Golden State. So
what do you think, Brian?
I mean, I'm a numbers guy, so I would put the Warriors in the top 10 for sure. Just because of the way that they were able to play with a rookie head coach, even though he's obviously been around the league and been on a
veteran head coach right now.
been on a one or two of maybe the best teams.
Yeah.
With MJ and Dennis Rodman and Pippen and all them.
And then even with San Antonio with Greg Popovich.
Yeah. So I don't know. I'd probably put them in the top 10. Definitely not the top 5. Probably not the top 8. They'd probably be near the bottom of the top 10. This is also recent memory. So a lot of those teams, like I'm looking at the list right now. As far as win percentages go, the 67 76ers. I have no idea who was on that team. Probably Patrick Ewing, maybe.
Oh no! I think you're thinking Patrick Ewing's Knicks.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I'm thinking.
You're thinking of I got the name, but.
Yeah, well, we'll move on. They won the championship that year. Like I said, obviously, I clearly have no idea who was on that team. But there's a lot of teams that I have no idea. So, it is what it is.
I think for them to be considered in the top 10 best team of all time, you have to win a couple more. You have to win 3 out of 6, maybe. Maybe not even 6, maybe 3. You just have to develop a dynasty. All of those are dynasties. The San Antonio Spurs with Tim Duncan, they're a dynasty. The Chicago Bulls with Michael Jordan, they're a dynasty. The Boston Celtics with Larry Bird. The Kobe Bryant with the Lakers with Shaq. Magic Johnson with the Lakers. All of them are dynasties, and all of them
have won multiple just to throw in the stat there.
I meant Wilt Chamberlain.
Forgot about the great Wilt Chamberlain.
100 points,
was on that Sixers team.
Yes, he was.
But that's
a much different NBA. That's definitely a much different
Averaging
NBA.
Like 40 points a game is a lot.
I'm looking at their roster right now, and they have nobody over 6'6" except one guy, and Wilt Chamberlain was 7'1".
It was only Wilt Chamberlain.
So it kind of skewed the numbers a little bit towards his way.
I think they have to win a couple more for them to be considered one of the best ever. As a season,
season-wise, they definitely had clearly one of the best seasons that you could have had. They aside from being down 2-1 in the finals, I don't think they really struggled at all throughout the entire season.
That is true.
But overall, for us, since we're Kings fans, Golden State's kind of our rival.
Oh, yeah.
So we're all a little bit disappointed.
I'm not a Kings fan, gotta say that.
Now
when I go to a Kings game,
worse.
So I go to a Kings game, right? Guess who's going to be there?
I know.
I'm going to see a bunch of fans in
Warriors
brand
jerseys.
new Steph Curry and Klay Thompson jerseys.
Stay home,
just
guys.
In my face, bragging about their ring, just taunting me. And I'm going to I don't want to deal with it.
Well,
the season is done. We can move on.
Next year.
Next year.
Talk a little bit about
Speaking of next year, I know this is pretty far out, but what the hey? If you could predict a finals matchup for next year, maybe one that you would want to see, and the second that you think might happen.
All right.
Give me those two.
All right,
the one you want to see, and the one that you think more
matchup.
realistically would happen for finals matchup for next season.
Finals matchup.
Matchup.
I think the Cavaliers. I know they just lost, and it sounds like you're like a poor loser, but I really do think if they all stay healthy, they will be the favor for next year for the finals to win it. And I think it's gonna be the Clippers and the Cavs, and I'd really want to see that matchup. Even the Golden State Warriors could make it back too, but with a healthy Clippers team, and they actually face them, if they actually go against each other, that's just gonna be. They both hate each other. Both teams just really, really do not like each other. Yeah. So it'd just be a really fun series. So I could see Golden State coming back and trying to do it again, trying to get 2 championships in a row against the Cleveland Cavaliers. We could see the same game, or we could see the Cleveland Cavaliers against the Clippers, the Los Angeles Clippers.
The one thing I have to say before, it's hard to right now give a next year's matchup. I'd want to right now obviously say the 2 best teams, which were the Cavs and the Warriors, but there's a lot of free agents this year, and it's hard to picture teams next year like the Spurs.
Right, but it's your best guess, right?
The best guess I would have to say is the Warriors Cavs, but the Spurs. I know, cop out, but like the Spurs could have LaMarcus Aldridge, Kawhi Leonard, Tony Parker, Tim Duncan. and whoever else
KD
they
will
want.
be back with the Thunder. Kevin Durant will be back with Russ and a new coach in OKC.
I mean, there's a lot of
Billy
things that can
Donovan,
change in the league.
With Billy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean,
what do you think, Tim? Though.
Here's what I would like to see. I would like to see a rematch.
Ooh.
Because again,
LeBron against Steph
I know you Warriors fans are probably gonna hate me, but I would love to see the rematch. The Cavs just take it to the Warriors. I'm sorry. Like
sweep them?
Yes. Like I would love to see them fully healthy Cavs rematch finals. Cavs blow them out of the water.
I don't think they can.
And I want the Warriors. I want the Warriors to get all the way there just so they can lose in the finals. I don't want them losing before. I want them losing in the finals.
They swept
to
all
LeBron.
3 rounds and then they
got swept in the finals.
And then they just hit
just
LeBron.
Whatever is the most heartbreaking thing for them to deal with. That's what I want.
So Steph dies.
No, we don't.
Okay, well. Now, what I think I'm gonna see, I am predicting Spurs Cavs for the finals.
And you know what?
With the Spurs,
LeBron would hate that.
Yeah, and LeBron would absolutely hate that because the Spurs have killed him
all the time. Even in the Warriors match. You know why? Because Steve Kerr, what team do you play for? The San Antonio Spurs.
Won a couple titles with them.
The Spurs are the ones that kill LeBron.
every time.
And then the Mavericks, but they don't care.
No one
but it's the Spurs all the time. I could see the Spurs going back. It'll be interesting. I mean, Tim Duncan's getting old, Manu's, but we've been saying that for years now.
Oh, yeah. I mean, what's another year? Yeah. And I think of any player who would be more than willing to accept a bench role 20 minutes a game, it's Tim Duncan.
Yeah, and he'd still get like 15 and 7.
He'd still be owned in fantasy, and we'd still be playing him, you know.
If the Cavs stay healthy, though, I think they're going to make a couple free agent moves. A lot of them are free agents. Off the top of my head, Timothy Mozgov, Tristan Thompson, Amon Shumpert, J.R. Smith. Technically, LeBron James and Kevin Love are both 8 free agents. They're both going to most likely stay. J.R. Smith, Amon Shumpert, I could see them leaving. I mean, I could see just the Cavs not re-signing them because they did nothing in the finals.
Oh my gosh.
And then J.R. Smith wanted a pay raise. That's not going to happen.
JR.
No, especially not
Shoot 0 for 8 in some games.
No,
you're not going to get a pay raise.
Have fun.
But
going somewhere else.
This is kind of the fun part, the rumors, the trades. What are some trades that you think are likely, or maybe even
before
random?
we go into that, let's talk about there was 2 trades that actually did happen.
Okay, yeah.
And then we could go into some free
big
agents.
Big time blockbuster deals coming here.
If you haven't heard about these are.
I mean, these players, you should own their jersey. You should have pictures of them on your wall.
Well, one of them is actually significant as much as you can downplay it. I think that
not to the common fan, but
no. The Clippers traded Spencer Hawes and Matt Barnes for Lance Stevenson. I think that could turn out very well for the Clippers. Spencer Hawes they got from the 76ers, and he didn't do much of anything. He kind of filled in while Blake Griffin was hurt a little bit this year, but really didn't do much at all. And Matt Barnes is a punk. I wouldn't want him as a teammate. They're trading a punk for a punk and getting Lance Stevenson back, but I feel like if anyone has the personalities on their roster to be able to kind of contain Lance Stevenson, it might be the Clippers with Blake Griffin, DeAndre, Chris Paul.
Yeah.
So that could actually be something that pushes the Clippers into maybe the next round or even further in the playoffs.
Yeah, I really like the move. I think it's a great move because you get a guy like Lance who. He needs to be not the alpha. He needs someone else to be the alpha. Because when he's the alpha, and he was the alpha in Charlotte, that did not go well at all. That was terrible. No. He played horrible. Terrible signing, too much money. When someone else is an alpha, when Paul George was the alpha on the Pacers team, he played great. He was intense. He was kind of like almost what Draymond Green was, just intense. Just has a passion when he plays. Sometimes out of control. But he's passionate. He plays hard defense. If someone else is an alpha, can keep him under control. I think it's a great move for the Clippers because they're not really. I mean, Spencer Hawes. I feel like they would have let him go anyway. Matt Barnes is getting up there in age,
and he's also replaceable because there's been a lot of talk about Paul Pierce maybe coming to the Clippers to finish out possibly his career.
The truth.
And so they're probably not losing that much. Lance Stevenson's a good shutdown defender, which Matt Barnes was. Good at, but they're also getting a shooter in Paul Pierce, so
it'll be interesting. It depends. It all depends on what Lance Stevenson we're watching. If it's going to be the Indiana Pacers Lance Stevenson, or if it's going to be the Charlotte Hornets Lance Stevenson. If it's the Hornets one, this is a terrible trade because Matt Barnes still had some game in him, he hit big shots. He's able to actually hit the three like Lance Stevenson was not a good 3-point shooter this year. So it depends what Lance Stevenson we see. If we see the Indiana Pacers, Lance Stevenson, then this is a great trade because Matt Barnes, you're right, he is getting up in age. Spencer Hawes, they weren't going to keep him. He spreads out the floor a little bit, but with this DeAndre Jordan, Blake Griffin team, you really don't need it.
It is interesting, though, because now they have 3 2 guards.
Yeah.
Which is a little bit, not as much space in that backcourt. You have J.J. Redick, you have Jamal Crawford, and all 2 guards. Although Crawford usually plays point when he comes off the bench for Paul. So maybe they handles.
Although Jamal Crawford is a free agent this year.
Ooh, that is true.
That is true.
So
I would say, but the other trade, the
big one. Bucks
Yeah.
trade Ersan Ilyasova. Did I pronounce that right?
I believe so.
Ersan Ilyasova to Detroit for good old Caron Butler and Sean Williams.
This trade is just the biggest.
I mean, the effects of this are going to reverberate throughout the NBA, I think.
I think this is the biggest trade of the year. I don't know if we can overhype this trade. This is going to be ridiculous.
I mean, I don't know that there's much more that we can say. I think all you guys should know about these guys and what kind of impacts they're going to have on these teams.
Yeah. All right.
Okay. So now let's talk some free agency. Because now that basketball's over, now we need something else for basketball to talk about.
Sacramento Kings need to make some moves. We need a bench.
Yes, we do. Amen. So give us a couple of. Brian's got the stats up right now. Give us a couple of free agent players that are going to be available that could be makes for an intriguing offseason.
Well, I'm looking at a list of the free agents ranked from I think 1 to 50, and some of them are clearly going to stay with their teams. If LeBron doesn't, that'd
be crazy.
That would be the biggest news story of all time. Looking down the list,
maybe another decision. Decision number 2.
The redecision. We got Marc Gasol, who might leave.
We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see.
He's another kind of guy that would stay.
LaMarcus Aldridge.
Hopefully goes to the Spurs, although he has had some rumors interest in the Mavs. The Mavs have a good shot at getting him too, is what I've heard.
He had interest in Cleveland, but now that Kevin Love is most likely staying there, most likely he will not go.
That dream will die.
And then we got Jimmy Butler, who is a restricted free agent, but a free agent nonetheless.
Restricted free agent basically means that anyone can match. The Bulls can match any offer that another team gives them.
The most likely
offer. Which they will.
Yeah, the most likely will. They don't have that much money. The Lakers are going to probably go for Jimmy Butler, give him a good amount of money, and I don't think the Chicago Bulls will be able to match him.
I don't think... I don't know about this one, but Dwayne Wade could... Yeah. He has a player option, so he could either option that and get, I think, maybe close to $15 million, or decide to try 20. And... Yeah, he wants $20 million. But with the cap increase, it sounds like more money, but in all reality, it stays about the same for his team percentage-wise. We got DeAndre Jordan, who we've heard about some strife maybe in that. They tried to hide it up pretty quick. But
have you heard anything about that?
Yeah, they talked. They were looking at just trading straight up Tyson Chandler for DeAndre Jordan.
It's a terrible trade.
It was a terrible.
Tyson's a lot older.
Yeah. It was not good. So the Clippers, I think, are just going to keep DeAndre Jordan. Most likely they'll re-sign him.
I think so.
Someone I don't necessarily know what their interests are. Goran Dragic. I think he'll probably stay.
He'll probably stay with Miami.
Yeah,
especially he's got his full-time point guard role. So.
Exactly.
Yeah. We got Draymond, who I think will get paid.
He'll re-sign with the.
There's been some news. I think that came out today, if not yesterday, about David Lee.
David Lee's definitely gone.
Yeah. So they're trying to find a trade partner to get him away from them, so that they have $15
million this year sitting on the bench. It's not a bad job to have.
Right?
No, right? And he gets the full playoff share for winning the championship.
Oh, and the ring. He can sell off too if he wants.
Don't think he can.
He doesn't need it, but yeah.
One of the big guys that I've liked for a while, Brook Lopez,
the center who can't rebound.
7.5 rebounds a game isn't bad.
For a 7-foot center.
Hey, but that goes along with 17 points. I'd take him. I'd take him.
Come to Sacktown, Brook.
Yeah, and
that's my only knock against him is you could.
He's a pretty good offensive player, though.
Yeah.
He can score a good.
He has a player option, so he potentially will opt out of that. Just because it seems like Brooklyn doesn't want him at all.
They've been trying to trade him
for like years.
Yeah. A few more guys that I'm not quite sure about their intentions. Paul Millsap, Greg Monroe, Monte Ellis, Brandon Knight, Reggie Jackson, Roy Hibbert, Rondo. I think is the next big one that I come across.
There were some rumors about him possibly the Kings being interested. Please no.
No.
Please no.
Well, the Lakers are actually. They're gonna get him.
There's some stories about Rondo. If you ever read Grantland, I would recommend for basketball junkies read Grantland. There's some stories about good old Rondo, and I don't know if I'd want that kind of player on our team. So.
Yeah, I mean, I think the Lakers are going to get him, and
most likely.
As much as it because the Lakers are my team. They'll be getting a all-star caliber player potentially.
Rondo's garbage.
Yeah, I don't like him at all.
Greg Monroe though, that's a big. Greg Monroe's a solid player.
I'd want the Sacramento Kings to pursue that. So
and he is an unrestricted free agent, so he has the ability to sign wherever he wants.
That'd be the pick. I'd want Greg Monroe, and I feel like it's
come to the Kings
possible.
Though.
However, I mean the last season Detroit did waive Josh Smith, opening up more minutes for Greg Monroe. So I don't know. They also traded the Pistons traded for Reggie Jackson. It seems like they're trying to do a few moves here that are gonna allow
Drummond and Monroe to do some work in the paint.
Yeah, no, I mean that's almost 2 double-doubles every game. So
that is true.
Those guys are.
Is that a winning formula though? I mean, Memphis have had that for a long time with Randolph and Marc Gasol. Is that really the way to win a title nowadays with today's NBA? And I mean, even in the finals, the Warriors going small with Draymond.
You need a couple shooters.
Game.
You're right. You need a couple shooters.
Is that the blueprint to win in today's NBA? I don't know.
I like Reggie.
I would like to see it because I'm very old fashioned and I like a little bit more old school basketball. I dislike the constant 33 pointers a game. And guys standing in the corner waiting for threes,
That's what it'd have to be, though.
Bummer about basketball nowadays, whereas the way it used to be.
I think Detroit would have to pick up a 2-guard that's able to shoot the 3, and that Andre Drummond or Greg Monroe are able to get the offensive rebound and kick it out to that 3-point shooter, and he can just knock him down. I think that's what they need, because Reggie Jackson isn't the greatest 3-point shooter.
Neither is, because they have Contavious Caldwell-Pope as their kind of 2-guard of the future. And he's an okay 3-point shooter, not great.
But overall, I think the biggest moves that are actually going to happen will probably be Jimmy Butler, Rondo, Dwayne Wade, maybe. It depends. If they don't give him $20 million, I mean,
Jimmy Butler leaving kind of opens up a little bit of cap room for maybe Dwayne Wade returning home.
There's no way Jimmy Butler's going to leave.
No?
What?
You don't think?
There's no way.
Yeah, he's gonna leave.
No. The Bulls.
I think the Bulls will match,
and the Bulls will
don't
go.
have enough money.
They'll go over the luxury tax. They're not gonna let Jimmy Butler go. There's no way.
He said he's interested in going to the Lakers.
It doesn't matter what he wants. The Bulls have the power. If I'm the Bulls, I go over the luxury tax and I keep Jimmy Butler. You don't let a player go like that.
I think when he can. I don't think he's going to sign very long.
And another thing that goes into
whatever things he signs with another team, Bulls can match. So,
however, in future years, the cap does go up, and he wants to sign a short-term deal to allow him to potentially make more money when he does sign his probably one massive contract for 5 or 6 years.
That's true. A lot of players are doing that. That'll be shorter deals.
Yeah, that'll be 1 or 2 years in the future when the cap increases enough for him to really.
It's making a significant jump too.
It is. It's jumping a lot, and so you might start seeing players get into record-breaking contracts very quickly.
LeBron's about to make $30 million a year.
Yeah, up in the 30s, and that's not all that surprising, especially when guys are making, solid bench guys are making downwards of under 10.
Yeah.
Money is going to be flying around.
The Chicago Bulls, I already think they're in the tag. They do not have enough money to give.
Well, that's why they
mark my words. They're going to keep Jimmy Butler. They're going to keep. You don't let a player like that go.
Then he's just going to go next year. They won't keep him. Either way, he leaves this year, or they're just going to spend a lot of money to get.
So you think Jimmy Butler just won't sign with anyone? He'll just take his last year with the Bulls and then become an. You think he'll do that?
I could see him doing that. He
doesn't. He would have to purposely not sign with anyone else.
He does not have a contract as of the end of this season. He completely is done with his contract. He's a restricted free agent. So
so they can just match.
The Bulls have to sign him to something.
Right. So he could either re-sign with the Bulls for whatever. If he just wants a year, then that's all they can give him. Or he signs with another team for a year, and then the Bulls have to match whatever that team signed. and that would give him unrestricted.
But I mean,
free
the
agency
Lakers could pay him. Like
the Lakers
30
could pay
million.
him.
They could pay him LeBron money. They could pay him $30 million.
But it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter for this year because the Bulls will just match.
The Bulls had to amnesty Boozer last year in order
for $16 million.
Yeah, and
they couldn't pay $16 million. They're not going to be able to keep Jimmy Butler when Lakers trying to pay him 30, and the Los Angeles Lakers took Carlos Boozer, which was dumb.
But and he hopefully will
I don't
be
think
gone.
either
Julius Randle
they will find a way. You find a way.
If they keep him,
another player, you trade other contracts away. They'll find a way to keep Jimmy Butler at least for another year.
The problem is for another year with this new head coach, you're just going to lose again. Maybe I don't know if they'll probably make the playoffs, but you're just going to lose in the playoffs. Is it worth it to spend so much money for this 1 year for Jimmy Butler?
Absolutely, because you look at it too. If you know he's going to leave, trade next year. You can get a lot for Jimmy Butler.
But if he signs a 1 year deal, he's not going to.
Doesn't
no
matter.
one's going to trade for him. Though.
Yeah,
I disagree. I disagree. Someone will take the risk, and someone will trade for him to use him for their playoff run. Teams will do that. Teams will take the risk.
Then his contract will
think about this. They will take the risk. They will trade for him for the year. They will take the risk knowing that they can offer him the most money and the most years as soon as he hits unrestricted free agency, and they will take that risk. The Lakers did it with Dwight Howard.
What playoff contender can offer a max contract?
Well, with the cap coming up soon, I think that.
But the Warriors can't. The Spurs won't be able to either. Neither will be the Clippers. The only team really is maybe Houston.
I don't know if he's really interested in. I don't know if he wants a contender or not. Because obviously, if he wants the Lakers, he just wants money.
I'm sure
they're not going to contend for a while.
Well, I don't know. You're about to get the second round pick. You might get Rondo. You might get Jimmy Butler with Kobe Bryant, Julius Randle coming back.
Okay. Let's not
Lakers 2016 NBA champions.
Like Kobe
you heard
Bryant
it here first.
Is a good player anymore. Let's be real.
No,
Kobe Bryant
he can
is
play.
nowhere near.
Oh, obviously, but he can play.
Nowhere.
He can play.
He hurts his team. He hurts the team defensively and offensively.
This guy.
Let's stop pretending that Kobe can still win a championship. Let's just stop.
Tim has no respect for true greatness.
I disagree.
I
don't like the Lakers,
but not when he hurts his team and he still thinks he's good. And he hurts the team because he still thinks he's good.
He is the best player on the Los Angeles Lakers.
They were worse with him.
He's the best player on that team.
If Rondo comes, Rondo's better.
No.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me?
Are you serious? A Kobe after an Achilles injury?
No. Rondo,
at his age, at the amount of minutes he's played in the NBA.
No, Rondo's not better.
The shot, the awful shot selection.
Rondo's not better than Kobe
is
Bryant.
Absolute. As of now, as of this moment,
Rondo, I think's a 31.
As of this moment, yes.
No.
Right,
yes.
Let's reel
Rondo
it back.
Didn't even play.
Let's just reel it back.
No.
Kobe is nowhere near what he was.
I'm a Kings fan. I hate the Lakers, but I gotta give it to Kobe.
Speaking of Kings, I know these guys want to talk a little Kings draft strategies and what kind of is going on with them.
The Nuggets, after getting Pete D'Alessandro from us and our former head coach Mike Malone, they made an offer. Ty Lawson for our first round pick, our number 6. Is it a good move? Do we do it? Do we not? Ty Lawson, I think, is 30 right now. 5'9", never has made it to an All-Star game.
Well, how tall is Chris Paul?
6 foot. 6 foot.
To interrupt, Ty Lawson is 27.
He's
how tall is Chris Paul? I want to know that. That's what I want to know. Because I don't think height is a huge issue, especially at the point guard position. I know defensively...
He's as tall as me, as you heard in our intro.
6 foot.
6 foot, no inches.
And how tall is Ty Lawson?
I think he's 5. He's either 5'9"
Ty Lawson is... Yeah, he's a little bit shorter.
5'11". So we're looking at an
5'11".
inch shorter than Chris Paul. And Chris Paul is one of the best point guards in the NBA.
And Ty Lawson, I think, has at least from seeing him play, he has a decent wingspan. Just the way... I mean, it might just be the way that he moves, but he looks long.
He's had teams go to the playoffs and he hasn't done anything with them. He's never been an all-star team.
Carmelo's got a curse on him though, so when he...
Oh no! If you're with Carmelo, you better do something in the playoffs other than get knocked out in the first round.
Well, I mean, granted, the only time the Nuggets, when they were in the playoffs, they had to face the Lakers, who won the title that same year. They faced the champs in the first round, and I think they took them to 6 or 7 games.
I wouldn't want Ty Lawson.
But I mean, a draft pick though. I mean, how many draft picks have we had?
All-star.
Could be
Ty
every year.
Won't be.
This Stauskas could have been a great player.
But Ty Lawson
Jimmy
won't
Fredette
be.
could have been a good player.
That's the problem.
Jimmy Fredette was not going to be a great. He was not.
Thomas Robinson could have been a good player.
I don't understand why
I say we get the sure thing. Let's get the sure thing.
Would you rather have Damian Lillard or Ty Lawson? That we could have had Damian Lillard. We just The Sacramento Kings are just stupid.
Would you rather
take the sure thing over the pick? Just another developmental project that could take years. I'd rather have the chance. I'd rather have the guy that can come in who's in his prime.
No, but he's not. This has not been his best season. This season was not his greatest.
But you're gonna put that on him. You're gonna put that on him. Their coaching dysfunction that whole year.
I mean,
Brian
Kings
Shaw. They knew they were gonna get rid of him. The coaching dysfunction that whole year. I do not put that year on Ty. Because the year before that, he had one of his best years.
He's not an all-star player. He's not even close.
Not even
No
way.
Top 5 point guards in the NBA. Not top 10 point guards in the
NBA. And I mean, that's kind of skewed now because there's a lot of good guards in the league.
Exactly. And we have Darren Collison. He works. He's not the greatest player, I understand. But Ty Lawson isn't going to be an all-star at any point. He won't make an all because there's so many ridiculous point guards. I mean, in the West, especially Steph Curry, Chris Paul, you have Tony Parker. There's just so many. He won't be an all-star. He's good. I'm not saying he's not good, but he's not. With the 6th pick, we could get a big Willie Cauley-Stein, maybe.
Well, what if we get Ty, right? For a pick, right? We got our surefire in his prime, starting point guard who's very done. He was a very good, in my opinion, is a very, very good point guard. I've been in love with him. I remember when he got drafted, I wanted the Kings to draft him on draft day when he was available. I was mad that I think those years, was that when we got Tyreek that year?
Yeah.
Like I actually wanted Ty over him. And I think that there are plenty of bigs on the market. You look at David Lee, right? We could potentially have David Lee, Greg Monroe. There are other bigs, Big Al Jefferson. There are other bigs that we can get in free agency. I'd rather take the sure thing for another developmental draft pick that's going to take 4, 5, 6 years.
What about Anthony Davis? I mean, I know he's a standout, but I mean, you have a guy like Ty Lawson. Where do you guys think that you're going to be able to go with him?
Now, this is one of the best drafts in a long time. Like, last year's draft was not good. You had Andrew Wiggins, Jabari Parker. Who was the 3rd pick? I don't even remember the 3rd pick. You have Elfrid Payton, I think, in that draft. This year's draft, it goes deep. You have around 15 players that are solid players. With us at 6, we need a big. I'm tired of getting these small point guards. We need a big. I do not want Jason Thompson starting anymore. That is ridiculous for us to have Jason Thompson starting. We are not going anywhere. Jason Thompson, we've tried to trade him. Nobody wants him. We need. I think they were looking. Who is it? Jesse Winslow.
Yeah, Justice Winslow is I'm looking at a 2005 or a 2015 mock draft. Justice Winslow, shooting guard, small forward out of Duke, 6'6", 220, not that big, but if he plays the 2,
he's good.
But I mean, do you guys really want to draft another 2 guard?
No, I don't know why we have so many. And
yeah.
I guess a 3 would work because we don't really have anybody coming off the bench.
But a 6'6" 3, there's a lot of there's a lot of big 3s.
It depends. They better not draft Sam Decker. I don't want Sam Decker. I take Frank Kaminsky, but he's going a little bit farther down the draft.
Yeah, I mean he's 17 here on the list.
There's a lot of good players in this draft. I think there's a reason that Pito Sandro and Michael Malone sent us that offer. I think they know that we'll do it. And I think they want us to.
And Denver has the 7th pick as well. And I mean, they wouldn't be surrendering that. Either they would maybe trade that and get a player. Maybe they don't think that Ty Lawson is the way that they want to go. They want to get a draft pick in someone else.
Maybe.
Maybe they want to go a different position, and instead of trading Ty Lawson specifically for the position that they need, they'll trade it for one up in the draft and then get whatever other player, and that allows them a little bit more room to draft who they want.
I think they know, as Sacramento, I think they know we want Ty Lawson, and I think they're trying to take our 6th.
I mean, all arguments aside, Ty Lawson is a very, very good player.
He's solid.
Although, I mean, at that point, you guys would have Darren Collison coming off the bench. I think you guys would be better served to replace Jason Thompson in your starting lineup without Ty Lawson.
Ray McCallum has developed into our better player in these last couple years, even over Ben McLemore and Nick Stauskas. He's developed. He's a good defender.
B-Max developed better.
I
haven't seen a lot from
Ray's a good defender.
He comes in. I'll give him this.
He's
very
a spark player. Yeah, he's definitely a spark player.
He plays really tough defense. I'll give him that. Do I see anything beyond that? I don't.
He is what Isaiah, I think, should. They wanted Isaiah to be. Isaiah ended up being a very good player, but Like Isaiah would come in. He wasn't the starter for a while, was he? And he would come in and
been a 6.
Yeah, he came in and he was a 6 for the Celtics this year. And he came off the bench and
we'll see what
averaged
they
like
do.
20
I don't know
points.
if they'll.
Our front office is just kind of a mess.
And you have a GM right now. We have Lottie making our decisions, which is nice. I like that the most. But I mean, we'll see what they do. We'll see if they get Ty Lawson. I would rather take a chance and hope maybe you get a superstar. I mean, everyone hates DeMarcus Cousins. He is a
fantastic player.
He is one of the best centers in the NBA. If not, I mean, it's him and Anthony Davis. So, we'll see what they do.
Mm-hmm. Well, on that, do you think the Kings can win with DeMarcus? Do you think he's a type of player that you can win a title with?
I think so. I think they can. He likes the ball a lot. That's a problem. But he's good. He can hit that mid-range jumper. He's able to get into a paint and do a couple post moves, take it to the rack, and he's a big guy. He's strong. That temper, though, if he can stop being such a bonehead, I think we can work with him. He's, one of probably top 2 best centers, maybe top 3 best centers in the NBA with.
Aside from big men, I would take AD and I don't know who else. I wouldn't take Dwight.
He's raw when he wants to play. That's the problem.
But Dwight, Dwight's percentages, not as
he's
good.
He's a good free throw shooter. DeMarcus.
Yeah, DeMarcus is good. Yeah,
that's true.
I think he's an all-around good player.
He's a great player. It's the fit isn't the greatest because I've heard things about his camp not really liking the Carl signing because Carl wants to run the up tempo, the layups or threes, quick shots, and DeMarcus isn't the type of guy who can really run the floor super well. He's more of that half court guy that you post up and you almost like Marc Gasol on the Grizzlies. You get him the ball, he play makes. Mm-hmm. So I don't know.
Hopefully
the fit's a little weird. Hopefully they can figure it out.
They'll adjust. I'd like to see him stay because he's a good player. I mean, he made the All-Star game, All-Star team this year. Kind of snuck in there, but he's a great player. I really hope we're able to develop a team around him.
Yeah, I think if the Kings drafted a 4 in this draft, they could end up in the playoffs.
We need someone coming off the bench.
The West is so good.
It's so good.
It might
could get better.
Well, the power shift might change though because if the Spurs were in the playoffs and the Blazers were in the playoffs, if LaMarcus Aldridge leaves the Blazers and the Kings get a good draft pick and he ends up playing well this year, I could easily see them replacing them in the playoffs.
We need a lot more wins.
Yeah.
Maybe next couple years.
When you're at the bottom, there's only room to go up.
That's true.
Can't really suck any more than.
Started from the bottom. Now we're here.
Yeah, it's still at the bottom.
We're still at the bottom.
Well, yeah. Other than that,
there's hope. We got the new arena coming, which is exciting.
The Golden One credit
Looking forward about that.
There's hope. There's hope.
There's always hope.
They'll figure it out. No team stays bad forever.
Look, the Golden State Warriors, they just won.
You get enough draft picks where eventually, you're like a blind squirrel. Every blind squirrel still finds a nut.
Eventually.
Every once in a while.
Yeah, and I got to bring baseball into this. The Houston Astros. That's why they're doing so well. They sucked for so long.
The Sixers, they're doing that strategy too. They're like, let's suck for like 4 years.
Yeah, no, and it doesn't help if
Embiid doesn't play.
Yeah, Embiid. Well, and Embiid had another setback. Might be out for this entire upcoming year. So
at least we're not Sixer fans.
Yep,
that's the best part.
There's a silver lining. At least we're not Sixers fans. That would.
Yeah.
I would not be. I don't think I'd be a Sixer fan anymore.
Sacramento.
I'd really
Kings all day.
disagree. That's a whole other topic, though. I completely disagree with what Philadelphia is doing. But that's a whole other topic. But
I think that just about concludes our podcast.
Mm-hmm.
If you guys have any comments, please leave them in the comment section below on YouTube, and please stay tuned for more videos to come.
If you want us to talk about your sports teams, certain types, let us know. We'll look into that, and we'll talk about what you guys want to hear.
Yep.
All right, guys.
Peace out.
You guys are bitches.